I'm gonna wait. You know how it is with tech, but I think we're good. Hopefully, you can all hear me, see us, and everything. So, welcome to Breathe, Move, and Balance. And this is the second time I believe that Carol and I join forces and come here to talk about different topics. And today we're going to talk about stress, but not just stress. How stress is impacting your blood sugar, is impacting your body, because at times we think that stress is just the emotions or the mindset, but it can actually have physiological effects, right? It's not just in your mind, it's not just in your emotions, it's not you getting moody or cranky, but it does have actual impact in your body and in your blood sugar. So we're decided to get together and talk about it just because we know that as probably you are corporate workers, you're busy professionals, maybe entrepreneurs, maybe busy moms with a side hustle. Stress pretty much is part of life. However, there are certain things that we can do to build resilience and manage that stress better so that it doesn't impact our health and wellness as much as a lot of us sometimes struggle with. So, as probably you know, but if you don't, I am Jenny Pena. I am a national board certified health and wellness coach, and I specialize in diabetes prevention. That is my passion just because of my own health journey and the history on my family. And I am very passionate about blood sugar. So I can talk about this for ages and ages and ages. But I'm going to let Carol introduce herself. She has a completely different side of skills that are pretty interesting, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you so much for having me on. So, I am Carol Rubino, and I am a yoga fitness coach and a health coach. And I work specifically with people who are over 40, professionals over 40, who want to address like muscle tension and joint pain and restless sleep and anxiety, especially anxiety at work. Help them kind of address those issues by helping them reclaim their vitality through a kind of a virtual or in-person customized yoga fitness program and private health coaching, both combined into a program. So yeah, just helping people again de-stress in different ways. So yeah.
And one thing that I love about Carol's approach is like she looks at mobility and functionality, right? So it's
Yes.
not just about, okay, we need to exercise more, but it's more about like the movements that you need everyday life, right? Like the
Hmm.
things that you need, the activities that you need to complete, and
Hmm.
how to improve posture and movement.
Hmm.
And I remember that Carol had a series about posture, and we all know if you are sitting on a computer for most of the day, that is something that we struggle a lot. So if you have not followed Carol either on Instagram or YouTube, we're gonna make sure that we put the links. But she has an amazing series and very helpful. And she even had one about balancing and how to improve your balance overall. And to this day, me and my son, we practice and we start like standing in one foot and seeing like how much we can balance and how much strength we have. So it was quite interesting, and it's actually kind of fun to do with your family as well. So
Yeah.
that's a good
Yep.
way of
Yep.
incorporating that. But
Yeah. Good.
now a lot of people are surprised when they hear, I know that at least on my end, how stress impacts blood sugar. Every time I hear anybody that either you're a pre-diabetic or you know diabetes runs in your family and you're seeing the A1C creeping up, or maybe you're already managing type 2 diabetes, right? Like, not many people think about stress as one element that will impact. Everybody focuses on the nutrition, everybody focuses on the exercise, and the one element that a lot of my clients sometimes dismiss, and that is actually the key for them to be successful, is stress management. And why is that? It's because stress increases cortisol levels. And cortisol is another hormone. We know with blood sugar, insulin is the one that is plays a key part. But cortisol levels sends the trigger into your brain that technically you're being chased by a tiger. And that you need to be on high alert, and that creates a whole set of things, even metabolically, how you're processing food. That's why when people have high stress, sometimes they have difficulty losing weight, and it can impact also your body. So incorporating tools that are great for stress management, it is key. I'm telling you, it is key for you, not necessarily just to keep a good mindset, but also for your body and also for your blood sugar. And I know that Carol has some takes around what are the impacts when it comes to stress and our bodies, because I know that when I'm stressed out, there are certain parts of my body that feel a little different.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And so, in my field, it comes in a form of like body tension, headaches, shallow breathing, just high anxiety, just different ways, physical, like you were saying, just different physical ways that it can manifest and take its toll. And then the body starts to tell us, okay, okay. And a lot of times people have a hard time slowing down and just taking that time to practice, things that are going to help us to deregulate, kind of deregulate the nervous system, or not deregulate, but help the nervous system regulate.
Mhm.
So yeah, I kind of put it back.
Absolutely. And I know that yoga, the technique is very tied into breathing. So,
Yes.
what can you tell us about that? Because that's one thing as a health coach. Obviously, I'm not a certified yoga instructor, that's not my specialty. But one thing that I talk to my clients a lot is like, okay, if you want something simple, try to incorporate meditation, try to incorporate some breathing. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because some
Yeah.
people have resistance. They think that, oh, I'm going to have to be meditating for an hour now. And then that actually adds more stress to them because they're like, I don't have time for this. How
Right.
can
Right.
they incorporate, like, what are the mechanisms when it comes to breathing and like
Okay.
stress management?
Yeah, so breathing is kind of the remote control for the nervous system.
Mm,
So inhaling is like an activator. And so when we inhale, what that does is it speeds up the heart rate and it tells us, okay, we need to prepare either for a fight, a flight, or some exertion that we're going to have to do. The exhale is the place where we probably need to focus more on. The exhale is the brake. It puts on the brakes. It tells us, okay, everything's going to be okay. I can step back, calm down. I can kind of reset, take a rest and kind of digest. So inhaling helps with fight or flight. Exhale helps with rest and digesting. And so what happens then is, we have these two systems in our body that are the sympathetic system. Again, that's kind of connected to our fight or flight. And then we have our parasympathetic system, which is our kind of rest and digest. And so, all day long, we're kind of struggling between the two. And so, with the parasympathetic system, by using our exhale or focusing more on a longer exhale, we kind of stimulate the vagus nerve, which is kind of the regulator for us to be like, okay, settle down. And so when it does that, then we can, again, just kind of collect ourselves and be able to kind of, function, get back into a function mode. But yeah, so the exhale is really key. Inhale, like I said, is just more of that. Okay, we got to brace ourselves and get ready to do whatever it is what we're doing next. And then the exhale is like, oh, kind of like that let down, like, okay, I can really finally relax. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I know that there are two breathing techniques or breathing methods, something that it's easy. And I was reading and I'm on the fence. I'm not sure, like, okay, like, is it true or not true? And maybe you do have the science. I'll still have to research. But I know that the box breathing, which is almost like imagining that you're drawing a box and you
Hmm.
inhale for four, exhale for four. And while you're doing that, you're trying to kind of set your mind just focusing on your breathing, hearing yourself breathing, to
Hmm.
try to give the brain a break. But
Yeah.
then I was hearing that if you keep the exhale a bit longer than the inhale, it tends to work better. Is
Yeah.
there some validity to that?
There
So,
is, again, like I said, when the exhale happens, it triggers the vagus nerve to kind of do its job to calm us down. It slows down the heart rate. Like this is, so the exhale has a physiological
mm-hmm,
effect, like true
mm-hmm,
physiological effect. So it slows down the heart rate. But then also in the brain chemistry, what happens is when we do, slower inhales and then the longer exhales, is that it helps the body kind of clean out the carbon dioxide and kind of
okay,
improve the blood oxygen so that the body can kind of level off on its cortisol, which you mentioned earlier,
mm-hmm,
right? And it can help lessen the activity in the brain's fear center. So, yeah,
okay.
so definitely.
So I
And
almost feel that I may need to switch because I know there are different methods, right? And like
yeah,
the box
there are.
breathing is saying that the inhale and the exhale are the same.
Yeah,
I know that Dr. Whale has like the 478 method that is really
yeah,
great,
yes,
especially if you're under high stress and like you
yes,
wake up in the middle of the night and you're having a difficulty going back to sleep. That's actually like the method that I tend to tell my clients to try and explore
yes,
to improve sleep as well. Because, I mean, if your sleep is not well supported, then the following day you're probably stress levels, being tired,
yeah,
and
higher.
then it's
Yeah.
going to be even higher. And it's already proven also that the blood sugar also gets elevated if you're having like a bad night of sleep. But it almost sounds like then probably the 478 may be a better method when it comes to stress
Yeah.
management than trying to like incorporate the breathing.
Yes. So there are different types of breathing techniques. 4, 7, 8 is good. Another one that's even, some people don't like to hold their breath. So 4, 7, 8 is you inhale for the count of 4, you hold for the
Mhm.
count of 7, you exhale for the count of 8. And some people don't like or feel comfortable with that holding, or
My
don't want to
dad,
take the,
my
or
dad
don't want,
tried it and he didn't feel comfortable. He's like, okay,
right,
like I don't know.
or don't want to take the time to hold their breath. So another way to do that is to do like inhale for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 6. Just a nice
Okay.
cycle there, just a nice beautiful cycle. Just inhale and then exhale just a little bit longer and then start it again. Just a nice little rhythm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The box breathing is good for if you need to focus, like, oh my gosh, I need, I'm all over the place. I'm going to sit down and focus,
Because
and
you're
then
directing the brain to think about the image, right? Okay, like that
exactly,
is
that's exactly
definitely a
it.
good
That's
insight.
exactly right. And whereas the 4, 7, 8 is nice because you have that 7, that 7 count of pause. If you want to just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to pause here. I'm going to sit in that place of pause, and then exhale for 8. And then the 4, 6, you can even do 4, 8 if you wanted to, if you want to do a longer exhale.
Mhm.
It's just beautiful. Just a quick, you can do that anywhere, and I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about how many times do we tell people who are upset, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
it
And,
is
and I
a
have a funny one, right?
powerful.
Like my son has autism, and obviously sometimes he can get a little upset, especially like he's been into soccer, and if the team was losing, he would get a little upset, which is completely normal. But sometimes I'll be like, "It's fine, just breathe." But then he was breathing in a way that's like
Right, right,
like very like fast, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know
right,
if this is going to work
right,
out very much
right,
because you're like doing it so fast that
right,
it was
almost
kind of funny to see him. And I'm like, this
right,
doesn't seem
almost
relaxing.
right, almost like hyperventilating. And one thing I do want to tell people is we want to do what's I call it a baby's breath. And what baby's breath is when you inhale, you expand the belly, the ribs, and the chest on the inhale, and on the exhale, you empty it all out, let it all contract. And that's how babies breathe. If we watch babies, that's how they breathe. We know that's how we were born with that. But somewhere
Mhm.
along the line, through whatever training or whatever teaching, education, etiquette people were taught, military, you inhale, you suck your belly in, and you exhale, you push it out. And that to me is not very relaxing, me personally.
Mhm.
So when I teach breathing, a lot of people used to breathe like that. And so for them turn it around and reverse it, it's really challenging. I mean, I've had them saying, this is really hard for me. I'm like, it's okay. Just keep practicing. It'll come natural. Your body's just going to have to, it'll remember that
Mm-hmm.
that's how you breathed when you first came out of the womb. So baby's breath. So
That's so interesting. That is so interesting because it is true. I think that sometimes it's like, okay, like I don't want to let my midsection show, so I'm gonna like hold it in
right.
and not do that. But okay, so interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one thing that stood out, and I know that most of you probably will embrace, is the fact that you do not need an hour of breathing. You do not need to get into nothing wrong with meditation, but it doesn't don't use the time limit for you not to incorporate these things because these are things that actually work, that there is a lot of science behind it. And guess what? And I have said that to some of my clients that I have back-to-back meetings and they feel like, okay, they're always interrupting me. There is no way I can do this. And I tell them, go to the bathroom. Even if you don't need to go to the bathroom, go close the stool. Nobody's gonna dare go look for you in there. They're
right.
not gonna go look for you in there. So do that. Take that breath. Take that rest. Just because it's going to help you and it's going to help you focus. Sometimes we are such a fight or flight mode. Your brain cannot even focus. You're not even going to be as efficient with your tasks. And a lot of people think, I don't want to waste time. And I am to tell you that when you take a minute or two to breathe, you're investing in your body and you're probably going to reap the benefits after. You are
Mhm.
going to be more focused.
And
Now,
and I was just going to say, and the more you practice it, what will happen is your nervous system and your breath, your respiratory system will automatically, when you're upset, you just take that first breath to reset, it'll automatically continue because it knows, the body knows it's smart. So,
mhm, mhm.
yeah.
So I have a question for you. I know when I am stressed out, and maybe it depends on my posture. I know that it shows in my neck. Sometimes it shows in my lower back, right? Sometimes it shows in different areas of the body. Are there certain areas of the body that typically, like if you see that there's some tension and that tend to be tied to stress? And what can we do? What are maybe some simple stretches? We know that please like don't do anything crazy like and when
Right,
it comes to movement, right? Like make sure that you follow instructions from your doctor. I don't know if you have
right,
an injury or anything like that. I'm just
right,
giving you general guidelines, but make
right.
sure that you follow your instructions of your doctor. But what are some things that maybe somebody that is at the desk all the time and that is super stressed, like what are some movements that they can incorporate?
Right. So a lot of times people with a little stress in the neck, back of the head, neck, shoulders, top of the shoulders, between the shoulder blades. And so a couple things that we even do this in yoga and yoga classes is, and a lot of the stuff we all know is just remembering to do it. So just some nice and very slowly, gently, like we said before, just nice, slow, like pick your shoulders up and just bring them back. And even if you do that once, if you come out of your slouchy and you just come up, and take that breath with it, that big inhale and then that big exhale. Beautiful. And then sometimes I like to teeter totter the head side to side, just release any tension. And you could hold it to one side, for as long, 15 to 30 seconds. So again, just kind of focusing on the neck and stuff. And for low back, sometimes just doing kind of an archy back, kind of they call this a cat pose, and then kind of an arching the body forward, kind of a cow pose, seated. So it's just kind of moving the body again, very slowly, very mindfully, to kind of stretch out the back. And there are lots of fun ways you can use your desk as a prop, and you can see those on my IG channel. But
And you
yes,
do
yes,
offer an assessment. So that's like
yes,
another thing that you can probably help a lot of people. If you're like, okay, like I need an assessment, that's something that you need to connect with Carol, and Carol will
yes,
be able to talk to you and see exactly, okay, like where you're at, what may be something that may be good for you. But okay,
yes,
awesome. Now, I know that like and I had my notes. I was like, okay, like what can I tell the audience that they can incorporate, right? And I was thinking like, okay, like what can we tell them about like stress management? And they can be like, okay, these are simple, sustainable things that we can do. Obviously, I would say just because of cortisol levels and blood sugar balance and knowing that the blood sugar can be impacted by the food, by the sleep, and also the stress, I would say eat a balanced meal. Try to
Yes.
make sure that you're incorporating things that are closer to their natural state as possible. I'm not shunning things that are processed at all. But what I'm saying is that, okay, make sure that it has some protein. Make sure that you're having some fiber there in forms of vegetables or fruits. Make sure that you have some healthy fats, maybe nuts, avocados. Again, try to incorporate that so that your body is fueled and at least you're not going to feel stress based on hunger alone, because that is a way of also stressing the body. But we already mentioned the breathing, and now we know like two different techniques. And now you know that if you're feeling that you need the focus, that box breathing may be best. And if you really are stressed out and maybe before going to bed or you're having a lot of thoughts in your mind, I would say maybe some journaling. A lot of the brain dump journal helps.
Yeah.
It sends a message to the brain to not worry about that. It's already on paper. And then maybe incorporate either the, you said 4-6 and
Yeah,
four
it's four,
seven eight.
six.
If you're feeling that the 4-7-8 you feel strange about holding your breath, the 4-6 may be another method, or
Mm-hmm.
even 4-8 that
Mm-hmm.
you want to do. And then these numbers are easy for you to remember, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
pick a number and try it and see how you feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that we can share that
Um,
they can incorporate?
yeah, so walking, I know people, "Oh, I don't have time to walk." Get up and walk around your desk, get up and walk down the hall, walk to the bathroom and back.
Hmm.
After work, go and walk for 10 minutes. We hear also that, if someone's upset, they'll go take a walk, go take a walk to calm down, right? So walking, it's just a great way to just, it's physical, so you can kind of
Hmm.
dispense that energy, that stressful energy. There's a little bit of focus because you got to pay attention to what you're doing, and you can also incorporate your breath and breath work within it. And then think about a good recipes that you're gonna good recipe for your meal, your good
Yep.
protein meal that you're gonna make for the
Yep.
for the day or
Absolutely.
evening. So yeah, I mean, there's just yeah, I like walking. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't do anything, but it does. It really does. It changes our physiology because it's movement, and movement will change our mood, and it'll change our how our like you said, our stress level
Mhm.
and that kind of thing. So you know
So I have two questions because I sent this invitation to a lot of my email subscribers, and there were two questions of two different individuals that they actually wanted me to ask. One, I think like we actually talked about it before, but we're gonna bring it up again. And they were like, "Is yoga really an exercise?" Because a lot of people have this thing about, yeah, but yoga does that really even count? Does that even matter? Like, is this a woo-woo thing, right? Like, is it more like a spiritual practice was not really exercise? So I knew I would get a chuckle from this. So please educate us, Carol. Okay,
Okay,
is it
so
really an exercise or not?
yes, it is, and it kind of depends on the type of yoga you're going to do. If you're doing more, a vinyasa, vinyasa, which is a flow yoga, or a hatha yoga where you're holding, but you're holding, intensely, up and down sun salutations. Yes, it can be a workout. There's Bikram yoga where people do, yoga in a very hot room and they're sweating. And so there's that. And there are yoga, even gentle yoga is a workout. It's just a workout in a different way, in a way that it's not so exertion, but it's more about working out the stress and tension, but in more allowing you to kind of relax and let go, that kind of workout. So, I think it's twofold, or it's yeah, it's
And I dare to say, like, if it is something that you want to gently dive in, if you feel that, okay, I know, and I'm speaking for myself because I was very intimidated with yoga. Carol and I, we had that discussion as
yeah,
to, okay, I feel like this is too complex and I don't feel as
right.
flexible and I don't, and it's great to take a class if you're able to, somebody that can see your posture and all of that and give you instruction or go to a yoga studio. But I think it's like something that it is amazing for stress because it is just working with your breathing. It helps
Hmm.
you with movement. I don't know, just there's something peaceful about it. Now,
Yes.
that leads me to the next question
Okay.
that came up. It's like, does it have to be an hour
No.
that I need to do for it to count? And
No.
they even said, like, I do not like meditation because then I feel like I cannot focus. Like, even though they're trying to like follow the prompts, it's like my mind keeps going to other things. And like that was exactly how they wrote the email. I'm like, okay, like I have these two questions. Like, how can I make it that my mind is not gonna go everywhere when I'm trying to do these things? I think it's too relaxing and my mind is too hyped up.
Right. Right, right. So no, you don't have to do an hour of yoga. You don't. It can be just a little 2, 3 minutes. And the thing about meditation is this is another reason to incorporate breath because and the mind monkeys will come out and play. And so you want to tame those mind monkeys. You're going to have thoughts. They're just going to come in. So just accept the fact that when you meditate, those thoughts are going to come in. However, now you have this breath that you can do, this inhale and
Mhm.
exhale as a focus. When those mind monkeys go, hello, okay, here's my to-do list. Oh my gosh, I got to schedule that meeting. Just like come back to the breath. So it's just a matter of like remembering, like, oh, here I go. I just drifted off. Let me come back to my breath. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that you would like to share towards the end? I know that we're going to put all the links for, again, your assessment that you have. Any last minute thing, any like final takeaways that you will say, like, okay, if there's one thing that you take out of this conversation, let it be this.
Yes. Again, just do a little bit of movement every day, whether it's walking, whether it's, I don't know, even if you go to the gym and work out, it doesn't have to be exerted. It can be
Mhm.
just kind of, gentle or whatever, less stress, less strenuous, and incorporate the breath. And again, we have this free system in our body. We don't have to pay for it to regulate our nervous system and to help us de-stress. So really start to practice the breathing, whichever technique you choose to do. Remember, it's inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale for the count of 6 or 8, and do that for a few rounds. I'd say 5, 10 rounds. And then yeah, just some sort of movement, whether it's yoga, whether it's Pilates, whether it's walking, whether it's bike riding, whether it's
Mhm.
playing with your children, just some sort of movement to kind of remember, let the body know that yes, I don't have to hang
Yeah.
on to this. I can have a break from it. Basically, you're taking a break from the stress.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And finding something that you enjoy,
joy. Yeah,
right? There are so many modalities. Even breathing, you can do it in different ways. Like we just explained how, like, okay, the 478, some people feel uncomfortable. If you feel really uncomfortable, then don't do that method. There's
yeah,
other alternatives. There are other things. It's the same thing with meditation. There's some meditations that have chanting. There are other meditations that are actually walking meditations. I personally
yeah,
enjoy those.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
love being outside. I love walking. And sometimes those meditations is more about, like, your eyes are open. They're not even closed, but it helps you relax and just take in the beauty that it is all around us. If we take the time to look at that, we can see so much beauty in the simple things. It could be a dog that somebody's walking and it's coming. It could be anything. It could be a flower that is like a lot of different things that you can see on those walks
Yeah,
that would actually tell your brain that it's okay to relax.
yeah. It's
And it
okay.
doesn't have to
Safe.
be a super long. So I would say we mentioned, okay, eating enough protein. We mentioned even the sleep, right? Like the journaling, the thing. Find a short routine, maybe before bed, that you
Hmm.
can stretch. Maybe
Hmm.
some of these like sitting exercises, right? Like something again like that mini demo that you did with the neck. It's like, ooh, that felt so good, right?
Hmm.
So just moving your shoulders, it doesn't have to be complicated. That's something that I
No.
tell my clients a lot. A lot of the habits and modalities and tools that you can use, it doesn't have to be extreme. I think like our society has taught us that everything has to be extreme, it has to be long, it has to be all in.
And
Nothing
fast,
wrong if you
fast,
want to
fast, fast.
go
Right.
for a 45-minute or an hour class. That is perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is that don't use that as an excuse to saying that, well, I don't have an hour, so I am going to just not do it. I'm here to tell you, start. And I always tell my client, you can find 5 minutes. And even if you can pair it, and if you know, like, okay, I don't have time to focus on your breathing, and yet you're cooking dinner, we know that while you're brining that meat, you can take a few, even a minute, and
Hmm.
just focus on your breathing. That
Hmm.
is going to make a difference.
Hmm. And like
And
you
I had
mentioned,
another practitioner, she said, like, it's giving a massage to your brain. Think about how you feel when you get a massage. Think about every time you take that breathing break, you're giving a massage to your brain. Okay. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're
yes,
watching the
thank you.
replay, make sure that you put your questions in there. We are here to support you and help you. And you can book a clarity call if you want to talk about like blood sugar and how to get you to balance it. You have Carol, that she is also a health coach, so you can kind of like pair a lot of different tools. And there may be something coming up next month, but we will put the announcement, and it's going to be an amazing opportunity for you to like spend a little more time with us and probably have practical tools that are going to help support your health and wellness. So thank you so much for joining us. Until the
Thank
next
you
one.
all. Thank you.
Bye.